Zara never played for applause, she played to forget. Each night, her fingers glided across the piano like a plea. The soft clink of wine glasses and muffled laughter from the wealthy guests blurred behind her, but she didn't care. This wasn't a concert. It was survival. The lounge paid just enough to cover her mother's oxygen tank. Most weeks. Tonight she'd skipped dinner. Again. She pressed into the keys like they owed her something, like they might spill magic if she just begged hard enough. And then she felt it. Presence. Someone watching. Not the usual drunk admirer. This stare felt deliberate, measured. When her set ended, Zara turned, and saw a woman in silk and diamonds, sitting alone, untouched champagne by her side. Regal. Cold. Powerful. The woman rose and approached with the kind of grace you couldn't fake. "You play with pain," the woman said. Zara offered a polite nod. "I play with purpose, ma." The woman extended her hand. "I'm Madame Elahor." Zara froze. Everyone in Lagos knew that name. Old money, political muscle, scandal-proof wealth. "I have a proposal," Madame Elahor said, voice calm and surgical. "My son is in a coma. But before the accident, he was engaged." Zara frowned. "Okay. I need you to be her. Just for a while." Zara blinked. "Ma. In return, your mother's surgery will be handled. Broad. No debt. No delay." Zara's chest tightened. "Why me? You fit. That's all that matters." Zara hesitated. "You think this is madness," Madame Elahor said. "But no. It's opportunity. And you are running out of time." The gates didn't just open, they parted like jaws. Zara stepped out of the black SUV, her second-hand suitcase in hand. Her eyes wide as the Elahor estate stretched before her like something out of a dream and a warning. Marble floors. Gold trimmings. Quiet halls where servants moved like ghosts. A young woman led her wordlessly through long corridors until they reached the grand bedroom. There he was. Coma Elahor. Handsome. Peaceful. In a way that made her stomach twist. Monitors beeped softly. His chest rose and fell. His skin flawless, untouched by the violence of whatever accident had put him here. "This is the man you're engaged to," the nurse said, like she was reading lines from a play. Zara stepped closer, heart pounding. "How long has he been like this?" 6 months. Zara studied his face. He looked too perfect, like he was waiting. That night, Madame Elahor handed Zara a phone, filled with fabricated photos. Her and Coma laughing at the beach, holding hands at a dinner party, kissing in front of a piano she'd never seen. "You'll sleep in the guest wing," Madame Elahor said. "You'll visit him every day. Smile for the family. Speak gently when the lawyers come." Zara nodded slowly, overwhelmed. On her way to her new room, she passed a man in a driver's uniform. Dark-skinned, unreadable eyes, arms folded. Their eyes met. He didn't smile. Just said one thing. "You should leave, before the doors stop opening." The days blurred. Zara did as she was told. Sat by Soma's bedside, read from books she didn't like, whispered soft things into a man who couldn't hear her. Sometimes, she caught herself looking at him. Really looking. Wondering what kind of soul lived beneath that calm face. Every corner of the mansion seemed like it was watching her. Doors she wasn't allowed to open. Rooms the staff never cleaned. A wing of the house sealed off entirely. Leon, the driver, always lingered nearby, pretending to be busy, but his eyes followed her. Watching, judging, protecting. One morning, Madame Elahor handed her a red box. Inside, a diamond engagement ring. "We need to update the family album. The media will be watching soon," she said. Zara slipped the ring on. Fit perfectly. Too perfectly. Later that evening, she opened the photo gallery on the phone Madame Elahor gave her. There were hundreds of pictures. Her and Coma, smiling in cafes, holding hands on yachts, dancing under fairy lights. Except they weren't real. The backgrounds repeated. The same dress in different photos. A shadow cut off wrong in one. In another she blinked mid-shot, but somehow her face was perfectly posed. Photoshop. All of it. Zara's chest tightened. She was in deep now. And the lie wasn't just pretending anymore. It was being built around her. That night, she passed Leon on the staircase again. This time he didn't warn her. He just said, "There are things in this house that prefer to stay buried. Don't be the one who digs them up." Zara found herself watching him more than she intended to. Leon. Always quiet. Always precise. He drove Madame Elahor like a shadow and moved through the estate like the walls knew him. She caught him late one night, alone in the garden, leaning on the rail of the upstairs balcony, cigarette between his fingers, unlit. "I didn't peg you as the mysterious type," she said, stepping beside him. "I didn't peg you as the pretending type," he replied, not turning. Zara smiled, then sighed. "What's your story, Leon?" He shrugged. "I'm just a driver." But something in his voice told her that wasn't true. He finally looked at her, eyes sharp beneath the dim light. "You think this is just a lie you're playing? It's not. This house. It eats people. Not physically, but piece by piece. Until you forget who you were." Zara frowned. "You're being dramatic." He leaned closer. "The last girl who wore that ring, she disappeared. Everyone says she ran. But doors don't open from the outside once you've stayed too long." She opened her mouth to respond, but a noise interrupted them, the sound of shuffling feet, coming from the east wing. The sealed side of the house. Leon froze. "No one's supposed to be there," he whispered. They stood still for a second. Then Zara asked the question that had been building for days. "Why are so many rooms locked?" Leon hesitated, then said simply, "Because if you saw what's inside, you'd run. And not everyone here wants you to run." Zara had just finished reading aloud when she felt it. Quitch. A tiny, unmistakable movement beneath her hand. She looked up and saw his fingers move. The heart monitor picked up speed. He froze. Then his eyelids fluttered. And opened. Dark eyes. Blinking. Confused. Then landing on her. Zara stood slowly. "Nurse." But before anyone came, he whispered, "Zara." Her knees buckled. When the medical team rushed in, Zara stepped back, her heart in her throat. They surrounded him, checked his vitals, called Madame Elahor in hushed excitement. Later in the hallway, Madame Elahor pulled Zara aside. "He remembers you. Be close. He needs emotional stability during recovery. You must not shake him now." Zara nodded, still in disbelief. That evening, Soma sat up in bed, tubes removed, voice raspy. "Do you still play piano?" he asked. Zara blinked. "Yes." He smiled, warm and soft. "You used to play for me. Every night. You'd hum that lullaby you made up. What was it called?" Zara's throat dried. She'd never hummed to him. Never made a lullaby. He reached for her hand. She flinched, then allowed it. "I missed you," he whispered. Across the hallway, Leon watched from the shadows, fists clenched. Later that night, Zara wandered restlessly. Her thoughts tangled. She stood outside one of the locked rooms. Something pulled her toward it. She jiggled the handle. It wouldn't budge. Behind her, Leon's voice came low and sharp. He was never supposed to wake up. Zara turned. "What are you saying?" Leon stepped closer. His voice edged with something painful. "That everything you're feeling, the kindness, the connection, it was planted." Zara's eyes narrowed. "You sound jealous." Leon's jaw tightened. "I sound like someone who knows what's behind that door." He turned and walked away, leaving her shaken. Alone. Inside the room. Something moved. Zara hadn't meant to stay long, but days passed. And somehow, she was still there. Soma recovered quickly. Too quickly. His words were gentle. His eyes warm. He asked about her mother. Her music. He remembered things she never told him. "You used to talk about opening a music school," he said one morning. He paused. "How did you know that?" He smiled. "You told me before. But she didn't remember ever telling him. He asked her to play again. And she did. Not because she had to, but because part of her wanted to. Meanwhile, Leon had pulled back. He was colder now. Kept his distance. Until one morning, as she passed him in the hallway, he stopped her. "You're letting him in." Zara turned. "He's not who you think he is." Leon stepped closer. His voice dropped. "He's remembering things that never happened. And you're believing them because it's easier than asking why." Zara stared at him, breathing hard. "Why are you really here, Leon?" He hesitated, then said, "Because someone has to keep you from disappearing." Later that day, Zara overheard Madame Elahor arguing with a man in the study. "You told me once she's legally listed." "She is. On the forged certificate." "Well, make it look real." "We don't have time. The shares must transfer before the next board meeting." Zara froze. Forged certificate. She tiptoed away, heart racing. That night, unable to sleep, she opened the drawer beside her bed. Inside was a brown envelope. Her name on it. She opened it and found a marriage certificate. Name. Coma's name. Dated 2 weeks ago. Zara sat back, cold all over. She'd never signed this. Never even seen it. From the doorway, Leon's voice came again, soft this time. "They never expected him to wake up, Zara." The air in the house felt heavier. Zara could no longer pretend. Not after the forged marriage certificate. Not after Soma started finishing her sentences, ones she never started. She waited until the house was quiet. Then she took a key Leon once accidentally left behind and crept toward the east wing, the part of the mansion they said was under renovation. The door creaked open. Dust floated in the air like secrets. Inside boxes. Folders. A wall of old photos. None recent. She rummaged through the files and found something that made her stop breathing. Her own file. Full name. Copies. Scanned photos. Audio transcripts of her piano lounge performances. One line written in red ink across the cover. Selected match. Profile fit. 98%. Her hands trembled. She opened the laptop on the desk. No password. Emails flooded the screen. Between Madame Elahor and a lawyer. A discussions about preloading emotional stimuli. A notes on accelerated memory reinforcement. A signed digital copies of a marriage license. Timestamped the day before Zara moved in. Then a recorded voice memo. Madame Elahor's voice. Ensure Soma receives light memory-inducing doses. When he wakes, she must already feel familiar. If we convince him they were in love, he won't resist signing over his voting shares. He'll give her anything. Zara's knees gave way. This wasn't just a lie. She was the lie. Suddenly, footsteps. She spun. Leon stood at the door. "You weren't supposed to see this," he said quietly. Zara backed away. "You knew." He nodded. "I didn't know how far they'd go. Until you walked in." She stared at him, betrayal in her eyes. "I was just a tool," she whispered. "No," Leon stepped forward, eyes burning. "You were the distraction. I was the threat." Zara blinked. "What?" Leon's jaw clenched. "I'm Soma's half-brother. The bastard son. I was never meant to exist, let alone inherit anything. That's why they kept me close but hidden." He stepped closer. "They built a fantasy around you to erase me." Zara stared at him. The truth cut clean. And now, she was trapped in a war she never volunteered for. Ran. She didn't know where. Just away. From the lies. From the forged memories. From the house that smiled in the day and whispered threats at night. But the doors were locked. Every exit. Every window sealed. Guards stationed. Silent. Polite. But eyes like prison bars. "You can't leave, Zara," Madame Elahor said calmly over breakfast the next morning. "Not while Soma's recovery is unstable. You're the only face he trusts." Zara looked across the table. Soma sat beside her, his hand gently resting on hers. Possessive now, not soft. He smiled like a dream she never had. You've always been here for me, haven't you? Zara forced a nod. But inside her stomach curled. Later that night, she found Leon waiting near the garden entrance. He handed her an envelope. Inside flight tickets, new ID, an offshore account, her mother's medical clearance report. I leaked everything to the press, Leon said, voice low. Emails, marriage scam, illegitimate shares. They'll be forced to back down. Zara blinked. What about you? He looked away. I was never meant to walk out of this house. But you can. Footsteps echoed behind them. Coma. He didn't speak, just stared at the scene. Leon. Zara. Then he said, too softly. You lied to me. His hands trembled, rage hiding behind heartbreak. You were mine. Zara stepped back. You never knew me. Soma's eyes flicked to Leon. You always ruin everything. He lunged. The two men crashed into each other. The vase shattered. Zara screamed. Leon shoved Soma back, blood trickling from his lip. Go! Leon shouted. Zara ran. Past the grand staircase. Past the portrait gallery. Past the ring that never belonged to her. She burst through the front doors as police sirens blared in the distance. By dawn, the Elahor mansion was a media circus. Madame Elahor's fraud was headline news. Soma was placed under psychiatric observation. Months of drugging had fractured his grip on reality. Zara boarded a flight that evening. Not to escape, but to begin.